You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Aingeal Rose and Ahonu.
Hi, you are very welcome back to the final session of our study of the Book of Manifesting, which we're presenting to you in the form of an 8-week course. And now we're on the final session. In the last session, we covered new script practice. And then we went into outlining a number of reinforcing practices. We also then covered gratitude as a manifesting tool. Now, I did promise you at the end of that session that we would look into creating new timelines. Well, here it is. We're going to cover creating new timelines, forgiving and blessing, and then we'll go through a quick summary of the entire course. So let us begin creating new timelines. In the last chapter, I gave you a way to express your gratitude as a tool to manifest your desires. An advanced way to alter the future course of your life is to deliberately create new timelines for past events. Timelines are simply events that occur at different frequency bands. There are many timelines operating right now that we're not aware of. We don't know about them because we're not tuned into the frequency on which they are occurring. Timelines are essentially other realities. Timelines and realities are just like frequency bands on a radio dial. You can select the ones you want. You won't always hear or see or be aware of those that you don't resonate with. But as you grow in awareness, you will find yourself with the power to create many new timelines. And here's how it works. Let's say you've experienced something traumatic in your past. You would have come to some conclusions about that, and you would have made associations about those events. And those conclusions could continually be affecting your present life today and obviously your future. You may have found this already from doing the exercises in the 3 questionnaires. Along with rewriting the script, there is a way to go back into a past memory and create a new event to run alongside the old one. And by this, I mean you will create a new event with a different outcome to the same situation that you experienced in the past. In my experience with the Akashic Records, I'm told that we can never really take anything out or erase an event that has already happened once it's in the Akashic field. But what you can do is to create a new event for the same time period, thereby creating a different reality. And by doing this, you have the opportunity to align yourself with the new event rather than the old one. You are bringing in a new, more positive frequency timeline for the same event. And this changes your frequency to something higher that is no longer affected by the old scenario. Here's how to do it. Take yourself back into an old memory or a trauma of the past. And as you remember it, change the events that were traumatic by using your imagination so that the scenario turns out differently. Make the events turn out the way you wanted instead of how they happened. Change all the details, all the conversations, and all the people involved to what you want. You are creating a new outcome in the same timeline in which the first event took place. And by doing this, you can now choose to align yourself to the new event rather than the old one. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between an event that actually happened in 3D and one that you create with your imagination. Your subconscious mind registers all thought and images as real. Your subconscious mind registers all thought and images as real. By choosing the new timeline for your old event, you've created a very different conclusion or association for yourself. This is what your subconscious mind will now begin resonating with. This, in turn, will affect your present and your future because you will now be resonating with a new and positive association rather than a negative traumatic one. The old traumatic pattern of association will no longer be the dominant frequency. Okay, let's go into forgiving and blessing. In this, the final chapter, I deliver to you my promised gift of how forgiveness and blessing help you manifest faster. When you work with the processes in this book and in this course, you will discover deeper levels of yourself by writing new scripts, and you will find your desires change. They may move from achieving things on the material and maybe emotional level to higher desires of love, forgiveness, and bestowing healing and blessings on others. You will come to realize that forgiveness and love are the only lasting achievements. This doesn't make the desire for material or emotional gains wrong. Proving to yourself that you can manifest your desires and go on to greater levels of achievement is an important step to self-mastery. Every time you confront and change your limitations in consciousness, you then see the changes appear in your outer world, and you become freer in what you can achieve. These stages are important. The process of forgiving and blessing is one of the best ways to release the hold that the past has on you in whatever form. It is also a wonderful way to break karmic bonds and psychic cords that may be between you and others. It offers miracles too, to all concerned. It even helps to release entities that may have attached themselves to you. Blessing is the process of offering grace to someone without wanting a particular outcome, just because it is a loving thing to do. It has the potential to assist in all forms of healing. It benefits the giver as well as the receiver. The key is to offer blessings freely with no thought of how you'd like a person to change. True forgiveness is the recognition that no one is guilty. Let me repeat that. True forgiveness is the recognition that no one is guilty. Guilt is a belief that demands punishment. If you choose to believe that others are guilty, or that you have judged them to be, you will not escape the same belief about yourself. Why? Because guilt always demands punishment. This belief is a major cause of suffering in our world. It's also the reason we sabotage our own desires. We all have core guilt. It may have come from other lifetimes, religions, dogmas, parental behaviors, authority programming, or the way governments treat their populations. When you look closely, you see that the entire governmental system is based on the belief in guilt and punishment. This is where the murderous ego comes into play. When you examine your motivations, you'll find your attitudes and opinions of others are not always positive. You might find you really do not wish the best for people, especially those who have hurt you in the past or who have done you wrong. This might also extend to events in the world, even to other races or genders, sexual preferences, terrorists, governments, churches, and so on. You might not ever give yourself a break if you have regrets over your own decisions and your own mistakes. These regrets can keep you punishing yourself for years. Yet, what is really true in the bigger picture is that everyone continually gets another chance to love and to be loved. No matter what the crime, no matter what the mistake, The only thing that happens is that each and every person receives from God's source another opportunity to realize love and accept love. These opportunities do not end, they are continual. God's source does not judge any crime or mistake. Instead, it offers the only solution that will ever work: love. It knows the imperfection of the individualized spirit, and each of us is an individualized spirit, and only offers us continual opportunities to realize that we are loved, and so is everyone else, despite the evidence to the contrary. This is what brings us to greater communion with God's source, and all life everywhere, and with ourselves. We have to desire the same for everyone and everything else in order to achieve lasting deep connection, peace, and happiness in our own lives. When you get to the place where you desire forgiveness, blessing, and love for yourself and for everyone else, your manifestations will become much more spiritual. This is when heaven comes to greet you and helps you grow in profound ways. How do you do this? As you have now made affirmative statements for other things in your life, you will make statements that focus on blessing instead of judging. Here's a few examples. I now love myself and willingly give up the belief in my guilt or anyone else's guilt. The idea of guilt, suffering, and punishment is now abolished from my mind and from my heart. I now bless everyone who has ever been in my life and thank them for contributing to my mastery. I now offer blank unlimited joy and blessings. I now forgive myself for any judgments I may have placed upon blank. I now offer only love and blessings to everyone and everything, including myself. I now accept that the will of God for everyone and myself is perfect happiness, and so it is. Here's a quick story of how blessings produced a win-win for everyone. I didn't have a good opinion of my ex-husband. He was verbally and emotionally abusive to me and my children. The only thing we had in common was strong sexual chemistry. And when we split up, I found I was having difficulty severing the sexual cords between us. So I went to my higher guidance for help, and the answer I received was this: you have to bless him every day. Of course, I had huge resistance to this advice, since I thought that if I did that, my ex would be happier than me, and I felt he didn't deserve it. However, I knew the advice was true, since it was obviously loving, and I wouldn't have thought of it myself. After a few days, I conceded, and every time I thought of him, I would close my eyes and say, I bless you. Immediately, the sexual cords between us disappeared, never to return. He soon found a new partner, but not only that, he got promoted in his job, and this meant more money for him, which filtered down to my support checks. Everyone was a winner. So now, let us look at a quick summary of everything that we've covered. You've now had the opportunity to absorb and practice the principles of manifesting. You've seen how your thoughts, your beliefs, your associations and decisions congeal to form concepts which your subconscious transfers to symbolic messages that manifest in your 3D life. These messages are programs, and they will keep running your life until you change them. You've also been given the way to change your programs and beliefs by inquiring into them through writing. You saw how to make new scripts and examine your motives and desires. You've been given several questionnaires to help you explore the content of your beliefs and your thoughts. Manifestations can occur immediately after writing a new script. Others may take hours, days, months, sometimes years. But don't give up, because you will see things shift continually to reflect your new desires. You may encounter old negative sabotaging patterns, conflict with those you don't like or who don't want you to change, for example, and it collapses things that do not serve your new framework, and fears of various kinds emerge for you to deal with. These things show you that your subconscious has heard you and that the universe is in the process of changing things around for your benefit. You will become more positive. You will feel things changing, meet new people and new opportunities, have the energy and thrust to make your own changes, to see synchronicities occurring, and you will feel a great sense of empowerment. Make it a daily practice to observe what you say, what you think, and what you perceive. Pay attention to your opinions and your judgments. Remember, you can change your mind in a moment about anything. You can observe yourself and decide you want to cancel a thought or an opinion. Just remember to replace it with something more constructive, more forgiving, and more loving. Finally, question everything. Make it fun to explore yourself. You are so interesting. This is the path to amazing self-discovery and self-mastery. So enjoy your journey, and unlimited blessings from Aingeal Rose. Now, I'd like to say a huge thank you for joining us on this course and in this reading of this book by Aingeal Rose, the Book of Manifesting. I want to just run through a few things about Aingeal Rose which I believe are important and may be of help to you also as you go forward in your manifesting journey. Aingeal Rose is an author, intuitive consultant, and spiritual teacher. She has taught and written courses on a wide variety of spiritual subjects, but she's also the author of a number of books. And one of them is Tarot for Beginners, for example. And I'll give you the links to all of these books that I'm going to tell you about. links.ahonu.com/tarot. She's also written Advanced Tarot Spreads. links.ahonu.com/ATS. A Time of Change. links.ahonu.com/ATOC. Love, Miracles and Original Creation. links.ahonu.com/LMOC. And then she's also in the process of writing 100 books of answers from the Akashic Records. I believe 13 so far have been written at the time of this recording, but you'll find those at links.ahonu.com/AFTAR. All of Aingeal Rose's books are on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide, and you'll find the links to them at links.ahonu.com/all-books-by-Aranda. That's all books by Aranda with hyphens. Aingeal Rose and myself have presented the weekly World of Empowerment podcast since 2012 at podcast.worldofempowerment.com, and you can watch all our videos on YouTube at youtube.com/Ahonu and Aingeal Rose. Ahonu and Aingeal Rose. Aingeal Rose co-founded our own publishing business called Twin Flame Productions, and you'll find that at twinflameproductions.us, which has published over 1,000 activity books for children and books that promote the expansion of consciousness. Aingeal Rose can be contacted through her website at aingealrose.com, and from there you can book and experience Akashic Record readings. You can book half hours or 1 hour sessions, and the bonus is that both of us do those readings together, so you're getting double whammy for the same price. You can contact Aingeal Rose in the USA at 224-588-8026 from her website at aingealrose.com, and that is spelled AINGEALROSE.com, or by email at aingealrose@aingealrose.com. All that remains for me to say is a huge thank you for spending the time with us, for being willing to change for the better, for being willing to bless others and to forgive and to love. So until the next time, thank you and bye-bye from myself, Ahonu, and from Aingeal Rose.
You have been listening to Aingeal Rose and Ahonu on World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world.